okay.
Well, well, we are also like more than 10 years ahead of you, right? In terms of physical age. So we got a lot more done.
Maybe. I never ever thought that I had anything for a book anyway for the minute, but neither did you. Oh, okay.
No, it's another story another time. But no, it was just an opportunity that came about, and then I took it, went with it, and out came a book.
Well, I appreciate Shamala are also saying that, it's just about, we're a couple of years ahead of you and whatnot. It's just a matter of time that you'll, maybe do it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's like encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you have a fantastic story, Cheryl. Cheryl, if you don't know Alina, she is a functional medicine doctor.
Yeah.
And she has 4 kids. 4, right?
Oh my God.
I
Yeah,
had
she's
4. I mean, obviously I love kids and everything, but I think that truthfully, it was a bit of an athletic adventure.
yeah, 4 kids.
Oh.
And I think she had your third one was
29, no, actually 2019 and then 2021. So actually there was a pandemic baby 2021.
okay.
Yeah, but I've never ever attributed any differences in her to the pandemic, which is quite an interesting one.
Okay.
But
I guess because you didn't do the usual, like the covering the face.
I mean, some of them at that time were at preschool and they had to. And it's funny because up
Yeah.
till today, they would have a cough or a cold and they'll want to mask up. They're just very used to it. Yeah. Like they already know, like they don't want to pass it to somebody else, or they feel, it's already in their heads to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
not in a kind of, they don't feel particularly oppressed. It's that personal choice now.
Okay. Okay.
Got to that level, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that the Japanese kids, even pre-pandemic, were also kind of like that, right? Where when they were real, they would just mask up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a research paper that I read about because at the height of pandemic, everybody had to mask up. And so kids going to preschool, they couldn't see facial expressions, right? So I think that became it became more like a learning thing more than learning disability rather. Yeah, which
Absolutely.
which can
Yeah.
create some problems. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't in that situation for long because we decided then recently to homeschool, and it's all kind of like we have our own thing. But yeah, it is definitely true that that was happening at that time. It was like 2020 until 2021, but it was quite short in a way for us. Yeah, yeah. Like none of the youngest ones were really at school. My oldest one was at school, but he had also done some schooling without the mask, and then the teachers would also, they were great. I mean, I think that they kind of just balanced things out. The teachers would wear the see-through
Okay.
plastic mask thing.
Yeah.
So they could see facial expressions, and I remember they changed that because they already on the school already early on picked up that wasn't really going to be good for expression and for them to pick up expression, all that. So
I'm
I really love this school.
I'm glad. I'm
Yeah.
glad they did that because most schools would still carry on, masking, and then young kids,
Yeah,
right,
like
will have a
following their
problem.
regulations, or not having the resources as well for that type of mask, right? Which is
Yeah.
infinitely more expensive. It's like a
Yeah.
big film thing with a foam pad. It's like a head face mask almost.
Yeah.
Not those
Yeah.
disposable ones. Those were fun times.
I know, right?
All of us here are sort of business owners and work for ourselves, so we're sort of not been too near all the regulations and having to, do things that you don't want to do.
Absolutely. I think we have better control over our lives and
My career actually started then, and that being a really big factor as well, because I was before 2020, I was in a clinic,
you
that
mentioned that. Yes.
yes, I did retrain in functional medicine, but I was still in that clinic setting.
Mm.
And so when the pandemic happened, it was not in my mind, it was like, wow, okay, here we go. You know, it wasn't like, oh, you know, we'll go online for a while and then we'll go back to clinic. It was like, that's it, we're going online, the end. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
that's how the online business started.
in your online courses, you train coaches. Tell us more.
Yeah, like whoever wants to be trained. So no, it's actually it started off like this. It started off with the pandemic being such a I mean it's there, you know what? You can even start like this gets interesting because I was just recalling yesterday with a friend, like actually in October 2019 I was already getting some buzzy feeling like I needed to speed up my online presence and online offering and online this and that. And being a doctor and a non-marketer and like having no idea, then I was like, oh, then let's go look for someone to spruce up my website and that kind of angle. Which was not the way to go down. And I got quoted something like 10,000 Singapore dollars. And I was like, okay, let's go, like, and that was really, really weird because even at that time, you could create your own website with Squarespace. And I had a website with Squarespace, but I just didn't know where to go, right? It was like online business and you know where to go. I met Kari, who introduced us actually, Shamala, but she was more like into the online business thing already. And she was like, hey, what are you doing? And then so she helped me to kind of like get on. And that was in January 2020. And then March, the lockdown happened. And I was like already putting out, free content and leading people into the environment. And then really wanting to help at that point, noticing that immunity was a big concern and staying calm was a big concern. Yeah. So so I released like a kind of like a printout, which now you would call a freebie, but it was a printout of like, hey, you know what? Don't worry about, all the other weird and wonderful things. You need to get these things right for your immunity. You can still download it. And here's what to do, and then just do that, and then not have to worry about anything else with your immunity, but at least get that. So it was based on the nutrients and then some herbs and then some hygiene measures as well. So that got some people appreciative and then off the back of that, we nurtured into a course, and the course was to kickstart your immunity. And it took people through literally the first steps that I start with any patient of mine. Yeah. So by that point, I could safely say that I was doing pretty much the same steps. Like I had like kind of systemized things by that point. And so that was pretty much the first step. The Kickstart Your Immunity course is the first step for every of my clients. And I called it Kickstart Your Immunity because it does kickstart your immunity, but literally there are 5 nutrients that kickstart your entire health journey that that I saw. Like I repeatedly saw patients coming in and having seen 3 or 4 doctors and practitioners having not had these 5 nutrients tested. And I'll just say, right, so the first one is magnesium, which you don't really have to test for, you just have to address. And the second one is iron, especially in women, and a majority of my clientele are women, right? And then the third one's going to be zinc with the copper in balance, in a nice balance. And then the 5th one is vitamin D. So these are very common things. You can find supplements with them included and all that. And despite that, I would see patients coming into my clinic 100% of the time. By the time they're having a symptom, they're going to have at least one of those 5 nutrient deficiencies. And when you fix that, they're so appreciative because their other physicians haven't managed to do it. And so I studied all this functional medicine and all this nutrition, all this environmental, and was able to detox or, go into Lyme or mercury issues. But like, my bread and butter turned into optimizing these nutrients. Yeah. So it was fun. It was really great to create an impact that way. And then my vision of what Vibrant Life really is not having to need supplements. So I also teach the second part to that course, which is how to maintain your levels with a proper pantry and menu plan and eating nutrient dense and all that. Yeah.
Alina also does nutrition, right? In part of your work. You want to share a little bit more on that, Alina?
I don't go down the same path as what You do, Dr. Cheryl. I think that's just brilliant because I think so many of my clients lack in all that anyway. And in my situation, people want results there and then, so they'll cut. And they'll do anything because they're just so desperate to get results. And they think when they go on a detox, they think that's the answer because they feel so good. And it's just, they've just eliminated all the rubbish from their diet.
Yeah, absolutely. There's like not one best diet, right? It's like, oh,
No,
is it the vegan diet or is it the carnivore diet? And actually, well, either of them is good if they don't contain ultra-processed foods.
I know. And so then there's lots of people doing lots of different things, but wanting a quick answer. And, I would say to them, you just start off small. So it depends, like when I'm working with them on their nutrition, and we just start the basics. And I just start with what they're doing and just make 1 or 2 small changes. So it slowly builds up. So most of my clients I work with for about 6 months, but it teaches them. There's all education videos there as well about lots of different subjects. So it blocks out all the noise and allows you just to focus on one thing each week. And it's like a piggyback onto each step. So it slowly starts to come together. So when people are eating nothing, maybe a coffee for breakfast, they might have a salad sandwich or something like that at lunch. They're starving by afternoon, and in comes, the munchies, and then the self-sabotage because they feel guilty with it all. And then they just constantly graze until dinner. And then they repeat the cycle the whole, the next day. Yeah. So then they might not necessarily be eating bad. They're just not eating a really good way. I actually spoke to, I had a consult the other day, and I said to them, she said, well, I still want to eat, and I still want to be able to, go out for dinner and have my wine. I said, fine, you can. But just remember, when you're working towards something at the start, you're going to have to make these small sacrifices if you want to get your goal. Yeah. And it would just slow the process down. Like, you can still have it, but eventually, yes, you can, because it addresses the metabolism. And I said, but if I said to you, you're going to wear a bikini and you're going to get up on stage, at the end, I'm not saying that's what she's doing, but if I said that to her, I knew I could say that to her because I knew she would get the message. And I said, do you think you'd be worried about the wine and at dinner time, or do you think you'll stay on track? She goes, oh, hell no. So it just helps put things into perspective. So I really kind of simplify things and just take away that stigma away from diet, and they actually start getting results, but it's sustainable and it's long term. But then so does the rest of the people around them. It's a real ripple effect because they want to know what the secret is because they're getting results, but they're still eating all this food.
Yeah.
So as far as, the supplements go, I don't go into all that. I would refer to something like that. That's not my area of expertise.
I saw a video yesterday. They did an experiment with rats. And so what they did was they fed one rat with normal food, like, food that they would find, natural food. And they throw this rat into the water, and there's a floating device, and they want to see how fast this rat is going to get to the floating device to stay alive and not drown. And this particular rat, very quickly went to the floating device. The second rat has been fed with ultra-processed food. And they did the same thing. They threw the rat into the water. This rat took a long time to find the floating device, and they taught the thing how to find the floating device. It found it, and the next day they tried it again, and the same rat could not find the floating device. Like, it became stupid. Like, it became so retarded. Like, the brain is not working. So can you imagine our kids eating ultra-processed food? Like, they are just becoming dumb. Just dumbing down, right? Like, everyone is just becoming stupid. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, you could go into the conspiracy theories of all that and what's going on with Kellogg's at the minute.
Oh, yes. Breakfast cereal with lots of unhealthy, ultra-processed stuff. It's not food anymore.
It's actually really difficult because I've got the young kids and they're 1, 3, 5, and 7, and to kind of keep them in the bubble is not possible as well. So yeah, ultra processed food makes it into our house,
Yeah.
And I grew up eating Mommy Monster like snacks, right, and sweets and things. So like sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like having Mommy Monster myself. So yeah, that's like on the ground, really, really difficult. And I understand like
Yeah.
now so much better how to balance things out so that we have that
Yeah.
resilience, right? So
Yeah.
what you were saying, Alina, as well, was like you're helping your clients to kind of, okay, you work on something, but later on, you're going to have that resilience already built in
Yeah.
that you can go out for a bender and not feel
Yeah.
like you're falling off the face of the earth, or you can have a couple of days or a couple of weeks of stress and be able to bounce back or be able to take it rather than falling off on a mental health cliff, right? Like, so
Yeah,
to me, again, that
absolutely.
brings it back to the resilience part where I'm like, okay, you know what? Yes, plastics are everywhere. Yes, like chemicals are everywhere. But when, I assure myself and my clients as well, like, when you've got these basics, the 5 nutrients, literally your body needs the nourishment and the soil and the nutrients, which our food, even if you try to, sometimes when you try to nourish with food, it's like we haven't got that same kind of primal appetite that we used to with for organs and for red meats and things. And people's digestions are quite poor as well, so the absorption is poor. And then to add on on top of that is the soil quality is already been overfarmed and whatnot, right? So all those factors put together, nutrient deficiency is so poor. So nourishment really means like food and and for a while, concentrating on the nutrients for a little bit, and then later on being able to come off. Right. I mean, there's so many other forms of nourishment that you can have,
Yeah.
right? Including
Yeah.
how we speak to ourselves and everything like
Yeah.
that. But the nutrients are one of those things that I really, really like, wow, I focus on.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's more like, okay, oysters, okay, sardines, okay, all the high density foods, and you're not eating eggs, why not? Kind of a thing, kind of situation. Yeah.
Okay, so we've been chatting for a while now, and as you all can see, we have a special guest with us today, and we have Dr. Cheryl Kam, and she is, as you can see, I think you may be able to see it on her screen, right? She's the founder of Calm, and she's a functional medicine doctor, and you want to share with us what Calm is?
Thank you for having me, by the way. So Calm is my supplement brand. When I started the business, I was seeing clients and I decided to bring the supplements that I was bespoke making for my patients out to the public. So I was focusing on sleep and anxiety because that was the thing that people needed help most with. So you're not even in the game when you're not on magnesium. So Calm is literally pure magnesium sourced from Australia because I think that their ingredients are very good quality and they've got a good regulation around it. So I source it from Australia and I make it in an ISO certified pharmaceutical lab in Singapore. So super pure, no fillers, no binders, none of the extras, small batch made. Very pure for the people who are like the sickest. Which also means it's amazing for the regular folk because some regular folk can actually feel the difference between their own magnesium and this one.
Okay.
So make that, and that's kind of like a daily supplement, and that's been the best seller. Then on top of that, if people still have sleep issues or they want to come off their sleep medication, they are on track or on the journey and they kind of wish to come off their mood medications, then you would add on this big sister product called Deep Sleep onto that, also used at night. And that's kind of like the ultimate stack for sleep and for calm. And, when you use it day after day, I have helped patients come off medication and stay well as well.
Okay, so can people in Australia buy your brand? Do you
A few
deliver?
times, yeah. So we're actually focusing on Singapore at the minute because we're really like quite able to courier quite quickly.
There
Hey,
she is.
I just ran
welcome.
around the house, so apparently the trip happened. I'm so sorry.
That's
That's
okay.
okay.
I was asking you if you deliver your supplements to Australia.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was kind of like not really delivering something good news there, but we have delivered to Australia before. It
Okay.
always is a customs issue, and it's
Oh,
always taking that risk because we use post.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can guarantee that it gets into the country, and then it depends on your postal system as well, whether it gets through customs and whether your postal system is then going to get it from the port to your doorstep. So there's
Right.
not like it's not the end-to-end courier service that we're able to provide, regionally, locally.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
it
it's a
gets
little bit
really
different.
expensive, right? If you use the courier
Yeah, like if we do DHL, it will kind of not really justify the cost of the supplements as well. It will sort of like, some people still might do, I don't know, but like it's quite something to see like yourself spend something on the supplements and an equal amount on the delivery. That's just not something that we're used to anymore today, right? With all the
Yeah.
free delivery services that are all around.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
but a lot of our clients are also people who have lived in Singapore and have friends in Singapore who can kind of bring it over for them, and that's what some people have been doing
Okay.
also. Yeah.
Okay. But
Surprisingly, we have had very easy delivery to Dubai. So a lot of people in Dubai are buying them.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm
Good.
focusing on the Singapore, and then we want to make that good and sleek and going well, and the community is all happy and everything. And then when we move abroad, then it's going to be a matter of like maybe getting a warehouse there to stock the items and then ship out from there. Then that won't be so much of a problem.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, if anyone wants to order Shamala, you've got your affiliate code, so click on Shamala's
Yeah.
link and get through that way.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring a couple of key points up with you, because in my industry, like I deal with a lot of women, our age and, and older, and they just started perimenopause, or they're actually in menopause, or they're going postmenopause. But one of the biggest things, as is sleep. And, and it affects everyone differently. And menopause is just, as it's not a one size fits all. And I always bring it back to about, so when we get our monthlies, not every woman is the same. So then I would say, well, then so is menopause. Menopause is exactly the same as what you were going through, when you're going through your cycles. Every woman is different. So therefore, menopause reactions and symptoms for everyone is such an individual thing. But I'm getting a lot of inquiries now about magnesium, including myself, because I know I'm lacking magnesium. I would take magnesium when I'm doing like long distance, events, but on a daily basis, no, because I'm not doing anything long distance now. And I know I'm lacking magnesium. So I would think, well, what type of magnesium would I need? And a lot of other clients would ask me the same thing. They've been told to have magnesium, but what type? So I think, obviously as they're going through all their different sleep insomnia states and restlessness, and there might not necessarily be anything wrong. They might be very happy. It's just that they can't sleep, or, the body's going through different changes. So, what would you recommend for, like the average woman going through those sorts of changes?
And
what type of magnesium?
That. Well, when people have in their minds that menopausal symptoms are going to be like hot flashes, when actually it's going to be a change of mood or change of irritability level or change in the nature of your sleep, where once you were someone who could sleep, on the couch, and now you're like waking up in the middle of the night, not able to fall asleep. And that can happen from any time from 40, which is early, and not the time that people are thinking about perimenopause or menopause. It's sometimes around the time that people are actually still thinking about fertility. And that stuff is happening. It's all mixed up in there, like where we're having babies later, and you're thinking about fertility, you're thinking about postnatal, you're thinking about your work. And so burnout's in the picture as well. The cortisol dominance is in the picture as well. Weight stagnation is in the picture. Then you're perimenopausing, and there's also that whole thing. So like women in their 40s and 50s don't have a good time. Like, you can and you can't, like society's set up so we're like sort of very confused at that time now. And that's really, really hard. And yes, actually I've got a really growing clientele of women who are facing these changes, and magnesium simply helps, because magnesium, there is a apparent like 90% of people in the world that are actually magnesium deficient. And this is a prediction because you don't test for this stuff, so I don't know how they kind of like got their numbers, but 90% is pretty high. That's almost like everyone's magnesium deficient, I only got this number recently, And the reason why I kind of focused on magnesium at first wasn't because of this number, it was because of my own patient experiences with patients. Yeah, so that's something that can really be the balm for the sleep issues and the anxiety issues without having to go into bioidentical hormone replacement therapies, without having to go into even taking melatonin at all. And if you do, then deep sleep has got a quite well-rounded formula to address the mood issues, the circadian rhythm issues, the amino acid deficiencies as well to assist sleep. So yeah, my mom's a big fan. Like all her friends, like my aunties, basically have are sitting up, going, "Wow!" And I'm like, "Oh, you know what? Can I record your testimonial?" Because they're like talking endlessly to me about it, like it's changed their life. And I'm like, I want to record this because this is going to help someone.
So there are different types of magnesium,
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. So sorry for kind of going around it as well. So when you Google, yeah, so there's like a real gap, honestly, because people are hearing about magnesium. They're even reading about it on Vogue magazine,
Mm.
right? And then they're not quite making the link, like, okay, there's a broken link here where magnesium glycinate is the most water soluble form, and when it's very water soluble, it means your body can absorb it really, really well. That's just it. Whereas I find many articles kind of confusing you with the 11 other types of magnesium salts that are available, and this one's better for the heart, and this one's better for brain activity, the other one's better for metabolism, whatever it is. At the end of the day, don't lose focus on the element that you're trying to get into your cells, into your brain, into your heart, into your bloodstream, and this is magnesium. What is the salt form that's going to get this element in the quickest? It doesn't matter about the brain effects or the heart effects or whatever, because magnesium is going to affect every single cell in your body, So instead of getting confused with the salt form and the effects that the salt could give you, like a little bit more brain activity and like focus on the magnesium portion. And then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to focus on the magnesium portion, which is the salt form that's going to help push all that magnesium into the body with little side effects as possible and the quickest. And that's magnesium glycinate.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
End of story. Very
Okay.
simple. Don't have to choose between 11 different kinds of magnesium salts,
Yeah.
And then, so that's one gap that people have. They're like, oh, okay, I kind of know I need to take magnesium, which form? And then they get lost. And I'm like, oh my God, like you had some knowledge, but it's so crazy that you need so much knowledge to even get help.
Yeah.
So I teach that and I cannot stop talking about it. And then the other gap comes in the form of then labeling. That problem is not as much in Australia, but I see it all over the rest of the world where it said pure magnesium glycinate. I turn the bottle around, read the ingredients, and it's like a blend. It's a blend of magnesium glycinate with magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide is absorbed at a 1% rate. So when you have a magnesium oxide, it literally goes through your body, pulls water with it, and causes diarrhea. So it's really good for people with constipation, and they're going to feel like they've had a clear out and their bowels are regular, but they're actually losing a lot of electrolytes and they're not getting the magnesium itself into their bloodstream and into their cells. So magnesium oxide, if you see that, is one of the cheapest forms of magnesium to get away with. Then I usually look at the brand and be like, this whole brand and the whole line. I mean, for them to be able to use magnesium glycinate oxide and call it a magnesium supplement, to me is like inexcusable.
It's like calling fast food real food.
Unless you're saying, hey, this is a magnesium oxide, it's a laxative. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, you're onto something here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that's why lots of people get diarrhea when they take magnesium, right? When I tell them go get a good magnesium, because with my clients, when you're going through trauma and stress, the emotional stuff, you use up magnesium in your body quickly. Your nervous system just,
absolutely,
you just deplete it very quickly.
Even if we're not, and we're living a 9-to-5 existence in a high-rise building, that's like enough.
Yeah.
And you drink your coffee
EMF.
every day?
Yeah.
Coffee depletes magnesium.
Yeah.
Stress depletes magnesium. So many things like coffee and stress. That's just me.
Yeah.
So I take magnesium every
I
single night.
think at 99% of other people.
It
Yeah.
is. So that's why the statistics of 90% and testing it. I mean, magnesium lives in our bones and within the cell. So when you take blood, it's not going to catch the low levels. Your body is tasked to keep magnesium levels in your blood consistent, regardless of your cellular levels and regardless of your bone levels. So when you test your blood magnesium, it's always going to be somewhere in the norm. And so these people who are tested by some doctors who know a bit, and they're saying your magnesium is normal, they get sent away, their cellular magnesium is starving and their bones are osteoporosing as you speak. But your body's going to keep your cellular magnesium consistent. And it's very much the same with calcium as well. So all these osteoporotic people have normal calcium levels and they have normal magnesium levels, because if you haven't, then your blood acidity is going to change and you're going to be in the intensive care unit. That's the acid-base balance issue with that, and that's not a way to test for these minerals. Yeah, it's not a way to test for these minerals. So I don't even test with that one. I'm like, well, $150 for your test, use it to buy the best magnesium that you can find. Try it out. If your body's feeling a difference, maybe you needed it.
Yeah.
And it's so safe. Like you can double or triple the dose with no consequences at all. Maybe you'll have a bit of a loose stool motion or something with glycinate. But at the regular dose, glycinate just does not give a loose stool motion
Okay.
at all. Yeah, it will regulate things. And I've heard people say that, oh, I'm a little bit more regular, but they wouldn't get that osmotic diarrhea where it's like flush out. No. Yeah, it's regular more because the bowel muscles are relaxed. So magnesium's helpful for relaxing our muscles, and then you don't forget that the large bowels are also made of muscle. So that's gonna relax out a bit as well.
We learned
Yeah.
something
Great,
new
thank you.
today. Yeah, very useful. Very
It's
useful.
the magical, it's the holy grail. Like, I mean, there's so many wonderful things about magnesium where you're like, if you're not going to start on any supplement at all, magnesium is going to be a holy grail one because it's going to help you absorb vitamin D. It's going to help you absorb calcium from your food. Yeah, so a lot of people haven't even got to the stage of starting a multivitamin, but I would even prioritize that above a multivitamin is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hear too many people tell me I don't want to take supplements because I believe that I can get all the nutrients from my food. And I go like, oh, you really need to.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I really hope that you can do that as well at some point, but the chances are the body constitution is not at that point by the time they're seeing somebody. So we've got to be realistic, like be real, like by the time you've gone to the doctor and you need a bit of surgery, you can't say, well, I want to heal on my own.
Yeah.
It's like kind of you're too late on that arc already.
Yeah.
So let's kind of fix some stuff and then get you back to, absorbing from food. But you're not there,
Yeah.
to like be.
I think most people are not there. I mean, because of our exposure to toxic stuff, to EMF, to all of these, right? It's constantly
Absolutely. I
bombarding
mean,
us.
true vibrancy for me, I've been in a situation where I was pregnant and postnatal and feeling great and not needing any supplements. I mean, that is true liberation in my mind. But very quickly after that, I was like, okay, you know what? I want to invest into my bone density and my muscle health, and there was just no need to drop my magnesium levels. And so I'm going to take this as my little insurance, but I don't even take a multi, and maybe sometimes I will. But it's a very like, whatever kind of, thing. And when we go traveling and stuff, I don't like stress when I forget to bring my supplements.
Yeah.
Right. So that's like a very much more empowered and liberated place to be, because you trust your body and you also trust to yourself making the right food choices, and you trust yourself to even have that connection with your body to know that you're lacking and to respond. And most people have lost that connection. I didn't have that connection to start off with. And this health journey of mine, and it's like an emotional health journey, spiritual health journey, as well as physical health journey. I was looking back on it. It took me 20 years. Right. And continuing. It never stops actually. But like I really did become aware of it like 20 years ago. So it's
And
not something that you can go and then 2 weeks just eat some good food and then or detox the thing away. Like, no.
Mm.
I remember trying to do something similar to that when I was pregnant with my first daughter, or my first child, my daughter. And I started to eat everything like I needed. You know, I ended up putting on 18 kilos. I mean, that did include baby weight as well. But, you know, I was trying to get all the nutrients from my food, right? And so I would have like a milkshake, and, you know, for my calcium and all these things. Like, admittedly, I didn't know what I know today. And so I'd put on the 18 kilos because I thought, no, I need to eat for two. And then when my second child was born, I thought, I am not going down that track again. So we have a company here called Blackmores. It was just they dominated the the industry back in the day, and so they had a pregnancy and breastfeeding supplement. I went, great, I'll just take that. Whatever my body doesn't need, we'll get rid of. And just follow like a normal basic, eating style. And I'd only put on half the weight.
Oh, wow. Even that supplement alone and that mindset.
So even though my intention was really good at the time, I still suffered a lot of weight gain. Obviously not knowing, like I said, what I know today. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, I never even think I would ever take a supplement.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
So do you supplement now? What are you supplementing with? What's your supplement regime now? It's
don't have anything.
Cool.
No, nothing at all. And that's what I was talking about, the magnesium. So
yeah, maybe I really still aspire to not need magnesium, and I really want my community to not need magnesium and not to need the deep sleep that I'm selling. Then I know I've done a good job, and then I'll start another business. But like that is the ultimate goal. We're nowhere near that goal, and like us everyday folk, I think I probably will still need magnesium to the rest of my life, but you never know, like what kind of world are we going to create where we don't have to replace the magnesium, because it is in the soil, it's been regenerated into the soil, or our plants contain all that magnesium already for us, and you eat those plants. Like that is my ideal vision for our earth. But for the minute, here's some magnesium, use the help,
It is tough.
Get ourselves strong, get our brains alert and thinking and focused, and then we can focus on what we really want in life. Otherwise, we're just struggling to survive.
Yeah, just a step at a time.
Cheryl just texted to say that her electricity tripped and is coming back on now.
Okay, that's right. It gives me a chance to quickly work out what this is, because